going on, everybody? Culturedog Sam Hatch back with some more videos, some Blu-ray collection action. And I've shown you the TV shows, the sci-fi stuff, and we're going to keep trucking. I think we're going to hit some action movies in this batch, and maybe some other stuff too. We'll find out. But yeah, put on your best Jason Statham accent. Get ready. And or Liam Neeson if you want to go that route too. Let's see what we got in the heavy hitters. All right, we're going to start with, I don't know, romantical / fantasy kind of stuff. I'm not sure what it is, but Disney's Enchanted wrote this film off pretty much before seeing it, and Amy Adams and James Marsden were freaking fantastic in it. It's actually a really good flick. And Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, yeah, it's kind of hipstery, but I enjoyed it. I thought the characters had a lot of heart. And I love the concept of the side character who's just totally wasted. The people have to kind of take care of her all night. That stuff seemed to be pretty, hit close to home. This was actually a pretty funny Ryan Reynolds, Sandra Bullock comedy called The Proposal. And again, surprised just about everybody who saw it. I've seen it plenty of times since then. This is, like a Twilight take on a fairy tale, but I think they pulled it off better than Red Riding Hood did. Snow White and the Huntsman falls flat a little bit, but there's some interesting material in there, and it certainly looks gorgeous. Speaking of Twilight, yes, my wife said, don't buy Twilight films, and I said, yes, I will buy Twilight films, and I will love them and cherish them. No, actually, they're hers, but I figured I'd at least give her the benefit of the doubt. New Moon, which is cool because it has a Tom York song on the soundtrack, and it's featured in the film at one point, so I can give it credit for that. Got some Eclipse. Oh man, gotta get some Goog on there. I hate having old stickers on slip covers. And Breaking Dawn Part 1. Series keeps getting more and more progressively disturbing and depressing and as it goes, so these ones are a little bit harder to watch because she's like dying through most of the film. All right, moving on to comic book adaptation movies. 300, based on the Frank Miller comic, and one of the first Blu-rays I ever got. I think there's been many reissues of this, but this actually my wife bought for me way back in the day, so I cherish that. Ant-Man, you saw my review of that recently, so you know everything there is to know about Ant-Man pretty much. This is pretty good. I don't have a ton of these things, but the DC animated series, the version of Frank Miller's Batman Year One, they did a really good job adapting the, I believe it was 4-issue series, and I've read that comic so many times, so it was cool seeing it kind of come to life and being voiced. This I've got on multiple formats, but the price was actually pretty right on this, and it's like a real Miramax Lionsgate and not an Echo Bridge release. The Crow, Brandon Lee's final film, and some good special features on here. So it wasn't just ports of the same old stuff. And Alex Proyas does a commentary, which was kind of a major coup. The Dark Knight, yeah, no, Batman Begins I only have on DVD. I'll have to get that on Blu-ray sometime. So I'm sure, everybody's got this, as is the case with The Dark Knight Rises. Got a little fancy lenticular cover there. But I just watched this at work last week. Good stuff. These are early Blu-ray releases, so they're not the like director's cuts or anything like that, but Fantastic Four. And man, this franchise is doomed between these films not getting really too much love, and then the new one tanking at the box office. I actually enjoyed quite a bit of Rise of the Silver Surfer. I thought it was pretty fun for what it was, and Chris Evans is cool, as evidenced by all his work in The Avengers and Captain America. This film I enjoyed more than I thought I would too, Green Hornet, with Seth Rogen and Jay Chu, and of course Bludnovsky, played by Christoph Waltz, but I like Michel Gondry's take on it. The original rendition of Iron Man, I'm sure this has been reissued many, many times. Looks fantastic, by the way. as does Iron Man Deuce. I still do not have 3 because I'm a slacker, and Marvel movies are never on sale. I think I actually did see it for $9.99 recently. People love or hate this one. I enjoyed it a lot. Kick-ass. I thought it was pretty cool. I never read the original comic, so I don't know like what I'm comparing it against, but I had a blast with it, and of course I had to pick up Kick-Ass 2, which I also likewise enjoyed quite a bit. Some great lines in there, and yeah, Mother Russia, some killer characters. What do we got next? Oh, here we go. More maligned films that are, quote-unquote guilty pleasures. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Stephen Norrington did a freaking cool, job at making this into a real Panavision type film. The scope imagery is killer, and some of the kind of flashback scenes that have been spoofed in the Venture Brothers, etc., where you learn the history behind everything, are so stylish and great. Again, it's piece of crap, worst film ever. Except I can't not watch it. Anytime it's on TV, I can't not watch it. And so for a film that has pissed off Alan Moore fans worldwide, it's in my collection. So deal with that. Oh man. This movie, I wasn't quite sure what to expect because I hadn't read the comics again, but Edgar Wright's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, complete modern classic. I mean, there was really nothing wrong with this film. It is just stellar on every single level and broke a lot of rules, which is great, and had an awesome time doing it. Great extras on here as well, and yeah, one of my favorites for newer films. I don't have any of the sequels, but I do have Supes the movie, Superman the movie, the original. Saw this in the theater back in the day, fell in love with it, so it was cool getting it on high def, and it's got a Richard Donner commentary, which I enjoyed as well. This, based on another comic I had never read, but Timur Bekmambetov doing Wanted. Strange mixture of actors and style and writing, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, crazy stuff. And gorgeous on high def. This is another film that, wow, man, what is it with all these films that everyone hated? Zack Snyder's take on the classic Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons graphic novel, Watchmen. And I always felt the original graphic novel kind of had a tough time creating a satisfying ending. And I have read, I think it was the Sam Hamm script that was originally, I think Terry Gilliam was going to maybe direct it in the late 80s. And he tried to crack the ending a different way, and I think that's always the thing. No one's going to be able to adapt this thing and keep the ending of the comic. And I think this pulled it off pretty well. And I love the director's cut, how it was a little bit more with the original, with Night Owl. And I loved seeing the long version. My wife is a huge Wonder Woman fan, so we got the DC animated Wonder Woman with, I believe, Nathan Fillion doing Steve Trevor in this version. Pretty violent stuff, too, so that's always welcome. Man, maligned, that is my word of the day. People despise this movie. Like it broke into their house and molested their dog and then peed on all their furniture. X-Men Last Stand, Brett Ratner, the world's most hated man. Film that was entirely entertaining in the theaters. I don't know. I'm supposed to hate it. Everyone's supposed to hate it, but it was fine. It's not as good as X2, but whatever. Don't tell anyone that I had a good time with it. X-Men Origins Wolverine, likewise, this has not a good reputation. Saw this in the theaters a couple times, but again, was entertained enough. So, sue me. This actually I haven't seen yet, but the Wolverine. Yeah, not to be confused with Wolverine. But I heard this is actually better than the Wolverine, or Wolverine. So, X-Men First Class. Yeah, sure, it messes with the whole chronology and all that stuff. But I thought James McAvoy and Fassbender were a pretty interesting team up, and some good juju there. All right, we're gonna break out of comic movies now and get into action-adventure movies. Yes, Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, The Adventures of Robin Hood. This was originally like a 2-disc DVD set that I had been meaning to get forever. The special features are copious and very, very cool. And I love seeing, vintage films in high def. It's pretty interesting seeing, how it may have looked if you had seen a film print back in the day. Were probably better than a film print. This is actually a pretty cool flick. The Bank Job. People went to go see it for Jason Statham. Thought he'd be kicking ass, but it's more of like a 70s crime caper type film, and really captures that style. I thought it was pretty interesting stuff. What's his name? I think his character's name was Terry Leather, too, which I always appreciate, a cool character name. This I got for a couple bucks at Big Lots. A remake of John Woo's A Better Tomorrow. A Korean remake. And it does have some action, and it does maintain the bulk of the overall story, but it's very angsty, and it's far more soap opera-esque than the original film was. That said, it's still pretty stylish and was worth getting for $3. Gotta have the Boondock Saints, the filmmaker originally from my neck of the woods in Connecticut, before moving out to Los Angeles and becoming a complete nut job. It was a great documentary about him and his insanity and all that stuff, and the band he was in at the time and how that all fell apart. But yeah, it is a wannabe Tarantino type flick, but you gotta love Boondock Saints. Bourne Legacy, I have all the other Bournes on DVD, but had to get this one in high def. Fun flick. Jeremy Renner did a great job stepping into the kind of world of Jason Bourne. I like how this kind of takes place concurrently with one of the Matt Damon films. Thought that was a cool idea. This, I still haven't actually seen this, actually. A Tony Giglio film, Jason Statham and Ryan Phillippe in Chaos. Got it super cheap. I think my wife picked this up. I think she's got a thing for Jason Statham. Don't tell anybody. I always love the Luc Besson films where he writes them sometimes with Robert Mark Kamen, but doesn't direct them. This is one of the many directed by Olivier Megaton, but they're always just quick, fast, and fun. And Zoe Saldana and Colombiana, I had to get it. Nothing very original or groundbreaking, but I don't know. I like those Luc Besson type films. Likewise, Neville Dean and Taylor's Crank is freaking hoot. Jason Statham, Amy Smart. Speaking of breaking the rules, this thing really pushes the envelope of what's accepted in cinema, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And you can't have Crank without Crank 2, High Voltage. So, yep, he's back. This Scream Factory is nice enough to give me for review a couple years ago. Darkman, the Sam Raimi classic, kind of like Phantom of the Opera meets The Shadow, and meets Death Wish. And Liam Neeson's a great role as the titular Darkman. And the Fast and the Furious trilogy. Remember when it was a trilogy? Yeah, this is pretty vintage. Just 1, 2, and 3, aka Tokyo Drift. I had some of the other ones on DVD, but I don't actually have them on Blu-ray. But yeah, it was hilarious that this was a trilogy at one point. What's up next? Let's go. We're actually going out of order a little bit, but Tarantino's Django Unchained. Killer release. Looking forward to going to check out The Hateful Eight actually shortly. So super psyched for that. One of the best films of 2011, Drive. Ryan Gosling in a very taciturn role, but oh man, the elevator scene alone is worth the price of admission for this flick. So great stuff, and you could see Oscar Isaac before he was Poe Dameron. I actually need the other Rambo films, but I got First Blood really cheap on Blu-ray. Man, this thing is gorgeous on in high def. Like, it's the best I've ever seen it look, and it's one of those cases where these Blu-rays can be a real time machine. It really feels like I went back into the 80s and I was able to experience this film for the first time. So yeah, great looking stuff. Flight of the Phoenix, I got this for free. I think there was like a pack. I don't know, when I got my PlayStation or something, you could send in to get like 5 DVD or 5 Blu-rays for free, and this was one of them. I got remake of an older film, but yeah, it's fun enough. Character piece, these guys looking to survive and all that stuff, but nothing that's gonna knock your socks off. One of the many issues of Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. Interesting flick that's really 2 films rolled into one. I know a lot of people that never get past the drill sergeant portion of the film and the basic training. Cool young assassin movie, Hannah, with some music by the Chemical Brothers, which is always cool. Actually, I just saw this on cable over at my parents' house on Christmas. More Tarantino goodness. Inglourious Bastards might be my favorite modern Tarantino movie, and it's definitely up there with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction for me. Love this thing. Loved that it didn't take history for an answer. It did its own thing. Pretty cool Clive Owen flick with Naomi Watts, The International. I enjoyed this one a lot, actually. It's got a great shootout in Guggenheim, I believe it is. And just good kind of classic cinema feel. Tom Tickford directs, and I love Tom Tickford's stuff, like Lola Run, etc. Ip Man 2, I just got this recently. Legend of the Grandmaster, with some more Donnie Yen action. Looking forward to spinning this up soon. Likewise, you probably saw this in my pickups video, La Femme Nikita, also known as Nikita, Luc Besson's flick with Anne Période, and haven't seen that in a long time. Got this for $2 at a flea market, The Last Action Hero. I still hope to get this on a rot-free Laserdisc at some point, because this totally was made for Laserdisc, but I actively despise this movie when it came out. I've grown soft on it over the years, and it's got Charles Dance in it. Who doesn't like Charles Dance? One of the many, many, many versions of Last of the Mohicans, the director's definitive cut. One of my favorite Michael Mann films. The original theatrical cut, I think, is still always going to be my favorite. This does a few things to rectify some of the problems from like the last director's cut, and I think it reinstates the Clonade song that was taken out. I know it's anachronistic, but I always like the Clonade song being in there. The film that kind of helped reboot James Bond, Daniel Craig in Layer Cake. It's amazing the amount of actors that are in here that you didn't know who they were when you saw it. And killer flick. I've really been jonesing to watch this again recently. It's been a while. But Matthew Vaughn directed, and kind of a protege of Guy Ritchie. Struck out on his own. The Léon, the Professional Blu-ray edition. I was going to buy it on DVD years ago, but I know there was problems with early pressings of it, so I just never went and got it. But couldn't resist getting it on Blu-ray. Machete. Man, I've been waiting a while for this. I remember seeing Grindhouse in the original faux trailer for Machete, and I thought like Rodriguez was never going to make it, but it did actually show up, and I still need to get Machete Kills. I know people hate that, but they can suck it. Interesting remake, The Mechanic, mostly because Ben Foster's in it. Jason Statham's pretty cool too, Donald Sutherland, but Ben Foster's just such an interesting actor, and he brings some zazz to the table. I have the original films on Laserdisc and DVD, but MI3 got on Blu-ray. Gorgeous looking high-def transfer, really just striking contrast. And one of my favorites of the series, as is Brad Bird's Ghost Protocol. Another great looking release and killer. The newer Mission Impossible films are the best in the series, but crazy as that sounds. And of course, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So, yeah. Ethan Hunt still kicking ass. This, I really enjoyed the director's edition. People despise this movie. People are wrong. Miami Vice is Michael Mann greatness, and it's someday it will be respected and not written off for the wrong reasons. Gorgeous digital filmmaking, and I absolutely freaking love Miami Vice. So I love the TV series as well too, but you have to kind of separate them in some fashion. But yeah, so great. Saw it in the theater a bunch of times, and I've saw it on Blu-ray many times. Jet Li the One. Got this at Big Lots for like $3. Couldn't say no to that. I was very impatient to get Pulp Fiction in high def. I don't know why, but I just love the film, and I mean, it's not the most insanely detailed looking picture, and there's some softness in the original negative even. I saw it in the theaters, and it wasn't like crazy detailed. But I imported the region, what is this? Region, oh, it's region A, but it's a Hong Kong, I believe, release of Pulp Fiction. There's actually some lip sync issues on this. I should try that, check that out again. But especially towards the end of the picture. And then of course, right after I imported it, they came out with an American rendition of it. Director approved. Quentin says, "Yes, you may watch my movie." And it's got most of the extras from previous DVDs and Laserdiscs, etc. So pretty much everything you'd want is in there. This film's growing on me. Ridley Scott's take on the Robin Hood legend. It's so distracting the first time or two, trying to kind of picture and fit this into what you know about the Robin Hood legend or the kind of cinematic history of Robin Hood. But it kind of works better as a Gladiator sequel than it does, anything else. But yeah, it takes a while to kind of get the feel for it. Again, more Oscar Isaac stuff before he was a cool resistance leader. The Rocketeer, great film from Joe Johnston. Killer stuff. I loved Timothy Dalton in this film, and yeah, man, so awesome. Can't say enough cool things about it. And I love that Terry O'Quinn plays Howard Hughes too. Salt, pretty decent action flick actually. And this is the unrated edition. Angelina Jolie was good. I like Liev Schreiber in it. And kind of cool how it gets away with doing things that you don't think an action film can do. The Shout Factory reissue of The Shadow, one of my favorite films. Again, I love The Underdog, man. I saw this film at least 2 or 3 times in the theaters, and I was a huge fan of The Shadow radio plays. I had some of the Maxwell Grant novels as well. But and I loved the Howard Chaykin comics and the Bill Sienkiewicz comics and that whole kind of run in the late 80s. Killer stuff. But yeah, I totally adore this film, and I love that they came out with a collector's edition. Speaking of Guy Ritchie earlier, Sherlock Holmes, I still need the sequel. For some reason, I don't have that because I'm a schmuck. But I like this a lot. Mark Strong was great in it, and love the vibe of it. I mean, it's gotten overshadowed quite a bit by the Martin Freeman, Benedict Cumberbatch television show. Killer, insane film. If you like the kind of style of Crank, Shoot 'em Up is for you. Clive Owen, Monica Bellucci, and Paul Giamatti. And totally over the top, but total hoot. Love that film. I don't have the extended... I need to see the extended cut of this to see what I think of it. But Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch was... man, the style of it seemed like it was going to be a total hit. But I'm still... Yeah, this thing is definitely a hot mess. And, yeah, Oscar Isaac again is a sleazy dude. But I don't think it pulled off what it was trying to do. But I would definitely give it a chance with the extended cut. SWAT, for no reason, I got it for free. Good cast, fun enough flick, and it's got the guy going $100 million. Yeah, I've watched that a couple times. Taken, because you have to have more Luc Besson written quick action goodness, especially with Liam Neeson involved. So, and Taken 2, Electric Boogaloo, unrated cut. Yep, can't stop him. He keeps coming back. He's still got skills. I've got the other ones on DVD, but Transporter 3, more Luc Besson penned action. I think this one's Olivier Megaton, too. Is it? Yep, Olivier Megaton. The coolest action director name ever. This one was pretty fun. And Troy, the director's cut. This one's a long haul, but yeah, entertaining action with Brad Pitt and Eric Bana and crew. And some more Liam Neeson's action, Unknown, which I still have not watched, but my wife picked this up cheap. And closing things off with Jet Li and Jason Statham going tete-a-tete in war. Not the best, but again, one of those things I'll watch it on any given day. I think I got this one for free too. All right, so that's it for the action movies. We'll take a break and get into some more Blu-ray shortly. Cheers, everybody.